I met Kobe Bryant when I was in high school. He said that basketball was 70% mental, 30% physical. And it's never been more true.
This is 70-30 with Thomas Viglianco.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of 70-30 with Thomas Viglianco. I'm here with a good friend of mine. I've gotten to know him in the last probably 4 years or so. A young lad, a tall lad by the name of Ryan Richards out of the UK, the United Kingdom, England, for all of Americans there. Ryan is a man. I was looking the other day. Almost 30 professional basketball teams you've played on. Almost 30, from what I could see. You were drafted in 2010 by the San Antonio Spurs in the second round, which I'm really interested to talk about that whole little period of your life, as I know we've discussed, but for people to hear, because I think it's very intriguing. All the stuff you've been through with just that. You're the only player that I know that has played so many years over in Asia, in the Pacific type stuff. So that's obviously a really cool thing. Yeah, 6'11", 7 foot. Ryan Richards now has his own TBT team, the big tournament in the summer for the big payout. So he has his own team that's going to be rocking this summer. Still dabbling with the pro basketball stuff. Also, his academy growing in the UK. So a lot of things going on for Mr. Ryan Richards. Ryan, how are we doing today, sir?
Very well, very well. Thank you for having me on, man, and I appreciate the intro. Before we start, two things. I want to say thank you to yourself, because about 4 years ago, I was, going through some health issues and deciding what I wanted to do, and you kind of guided me and made time within your time. So thank you for that, sir. And secondly, I apologise to all the Americans if you don't understand English. As an English man coming to you. So I will do my best to try to put some American twang on it to help you out.
So can you explain, we'll just dive right into it.
Yeah.
What is the UK scene in 2025 compared to 2006, 5, 10, whenever you were kind of coming up and making your bones and becoming a big time player in the world? Tell us what that looked like then for you and the UK, and then now in 2025, if you can.
Yeah, I think the game has grown. It's the second most played sport in the UK now, so that's huge. I think social media has been massive. I think now where players are getting so much traction and attention from highlight tapes, from exposure events, through all these tournaments and all these events and exposure things. And I don't think all of them are great, but I think it's definitely picked up the I can do it too. I can make it as well. There's such a big disconnect, obviously, with, the different side of the ocean. There's more faith. I think there's more faith. I think players like myself that are coming back now and doing things in the UK, it gives kids that if he can do it, I can do it. And I think when I'm in America, there's just so much talent. There's so many schools, there's so many AU programs, so many high school programs. There's always, you can see, okay, I want to get there and there and there and there. Kid from the UK, there's none of that. So I think it's got better with our professional league. It's got better with our academy. And just overall, you walk in the parks and you see kids waiting to play now. When I used to play football, soccer and basketball would be together. Now there are courts just for that, outdoors. So I just think the attention, I think the love for it has picked up, and the I don't want to say there's more access to facilities, because I don't think there is indoor facilities, but there's more access to outdoor facilities.
Okay. What would you say a young man or lady, if you polled 100, let's say 8th grade, 13, 14-year-old kids right now, if you polled 100 of them, what would you say the vote would be basketball to soccer or football as their favorite sport? Just like, I mean, like maybe to watch and then also maybe to play.
I think it definitely depends on where you are. So, if you're in a city, there's going to be more opportunities, because there's more outdoor courts. If you're in the suburbs, there's nothing, there's just football fields. I would say it's definitely, in my time, I would say it's 95 to 5 in the 2005, 2006. I'd say no, I mean, maybe 30 to 100. So it's definitely picked up, it's 4 or 5x.
Wow. Do you feel like the UK game, like there's a lot of talent coming up the ranks? I mean, obviously I know there is, but do you feel like 5, 10 years from now you're going to be saying stuff about in the NBA, college in the US, like, man, there's a lot of UK kids, or is it just going to kind of be like 2 here, 6 there, 4 there?
I think we need, I mean, we had it with Jeremy Sochan. Jeremy Sochan, what an amazing story. I didn't know much about him when he was at Baylor. I didn't know anything about him, and then when he got drafted, I started doing some research, right? Um, but I think his what he could do for the game. I think somebody like Giannis, what Giannis can do. The Greek game in itself is the Greek game, right? But if you look when Giannis got drafted, and then you look at how many Greek players have got to look after him, that's how it is. It was the same when I was with the Spurs. I stick to it. I think if Jan Mahimi would have been, the player that they thought he would have been, then they might have took a bigger risk on me, right? You look at Giannis Antetokounmpo when he got drafted, and then I think it's Bruno got drafted, and he was 2 years away from being 2 years away because he resembled Giannis. So I think for us as a UK, we need a superstar, and I think Jeremy's close to that. I think he could really do it and really infuse the whole game and get the momentum. Our ground level's terrible. Our fundamentals is bad. I mean, if you go to a barbershop here, everybody knows about football. Everyone soccer. Everyone knows. They know the rules. They know the players. They know the history. They know the culture. You go to America, yeah, I think everyone thinks they're a basketball genius, but they know the game. It's around them, so they see that, so they have some sort of insight. That doesn't mean that every parent that comes to a game knows what they're talking about. Maybe not, but they have, they have an idea. So for us, it's kind of like our groundwork. There's no money. There's no money in the game, so there's no coaches, and coaches aren't making enough money. So then everyone's making their own program because they want to be their own boss, and then it waters down the quality because you're spreading the talent thin. So, before you would have four major programs, four good programs. So you would, the finals or the quarterfinals would be really good. Now there's really one super team, and then the other teams are kind of just spread thin because they're undercutting each other on pricing and stuff. So, you know, it's tough, man. I'm trying. I'm trying to help these kids from the ground level to get the basics and the fundamentals down. And I know that's something that you're big on, right? They don't have it. We've got the talent, we've got the athletes. I mean, we're the most multicultural city in the world with London. We've got it. But that groundwork, man. There's not facilities. There's not places to play. Um, so it's tough, man. But I do think if we can get like Jeremy Sochan is a big hope. Big hopes in him, and I think he is the person to do it. And I think if we can get another Jeremy Sochan, or we can get as many of those, great. As far as UK talent, it'd be tricky. It'd be tricky, man.
I want to definitely touch on player development and mentorship in a little bit, but we'll stick with the Jeremy Sochan Spurs. You being drafted by the Spurs.
Mm.
Tell us the story of your stint with the Spurs. I know you never stepped foot on the floor in an actual NBA Spurs game.
Yeah.
But you tell us the kind of your trials and tribulations of getting there, who you went up against to before you were in the Spurs, and kind of how you were the next big thing, and then some roadblocks happened and all that. Maybe if you can kind of dial that in.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's simple what happened to me. I dealt with the wrong people, and some of those people now are in very, very high positions currently in the NBA, right? I was around a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing. I was the number one player in the world at 15, 16. Before unicorn was thrown around, I was one. I was 6'11", could do everything. I was the youngest player ever to play in the Nike Hoop Summit at 15, going up with Kevin Love, Patrick Patterson, Solomon Alabama, Omar Caspi, Derrick Rose, OJ Mayo, and did more than hold my own. Was having dinners with Coach K and everything at 15 years old, and I was the next real thing. Had terrible management. Somebody kind of manipulated my mother as a single mother and hid me for 2 years. So I was hidden for 2 years. No one knew who I was. Well, no one knew where I was because they knew they were onto something and they were going to lose me because I was going to end up going to some major agency. Was hidden in the mountains of Switzerland. Had a couple of injuries that they just brushed off. Was found by an agent who said, "Hey, come to Chicago, and let's see how good you are, and let's see if you've, let's say, still got it. You've been gone for 2 years." Pulled up to Chicago, and did a private workout with 6 NBA teams, and all 6 teams basically were like, "Do not let him work out with anybody else. Let's just hide him." I went against that. I was like, "No, like I've been hidden for 2 years. I want to go out there." My agent had a player in the combine. He was in the draft. He actually made him pull out. He actually made him go back overseas for 1 year because he believed in me and put me in the draft combine. And I just dominated. Me and Paul George were the best players at the combine. There's a pretty cool piece with all the analysts from ESPN talking about myself, Paul George, and just started doing my workouts. Was crushing them. As you know, you have experience in it. I was put into a lot of lottery pick workouts because I was an unknown or a second round pick, and just it was abuse. I was destroying these guys, and then I started not being invited to those workouts and started doing second round workouts and late first round workouts, which was even easier for me. And then the medical came, and when the medical results came, it showed that I needed double shoulder surgery. I picked up injuries when I was young, never got them looked at. Was just told, keep playing, you'll be fine. Got a call on draft day to go at number 20. And they said, "You have to go back overseas." I said, "No, I'm not going back overseas. No, thank you." And then I fell to the second round to that team, which were the Spurs. When I got there, they revealed to me that, "Hey, you need shoulder surgery." So I spent the whole season with the Spurs, rehabbing 2 shoulder ups. And then the NBA lockout happened. And I think I just was kind of fed up. I turned pro at 15. So when I got to when I got there and I did all the work and I got there, and then I didn't get my contract, and then, my managers and people that were helping me kind of just left me, really, like, "Well, we'll circle back in a year when he's healthy." I just gave up. I completely gave up. I knew I was an NBA player, but I didn't want to go through the games and the games and the mind games that the Spurs were playing. I just struggled. I really struggled, man. I needed a mentor at the time. To that double shoulder surgery at 19 years old, and it wasn't like, I remember we were in Theory. It's a bar in Chicago. It's a funny story, actually, and we were like, "Well, I believed I was going top 10. I was like, there's no way I can't go top 10 after what I was doing in the workouts." So my boys were there. They were like, "All right, let's just do a shot every pick." So we're like, "All right, cool." So maybe 7, 8 shots, or maybe 12. So we get to like the 15th pick, and we're struggling. We're struggling big time. And so we take a little breather, we take a little break. The phone call comes at number 20. I say no, I'm dropping. And everyone's like, "It's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen." Anyway, I go to the restroom when they call my name. And everyone's screaming and jumping up and down. And I'm just pissed, because I knew I should go higher, right? And I'm pissed as well, drunk. And I come out and everyone's happy for me, like, yo, bro, you got drafted, da 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 da. And Pop called me and was like, hey, excited to get you down here or whatever. Not. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And next minute, the bartender come over and he's like, get the fuck out of here now. And we're like, whoa, what's going on? And he's like, you're 19 years old. What the fuck? And we're like, huh? And he's like, you're 19, you can't be drinking at 19. So we didn't know it was 20, 21. So we've been hammering drinks. And it says it on the board, Ryan Richards, England 19. So we got kicked out of there, didn't pay the bill. So that was cool. And yeah, flew down to San Antonio. They rehabbed me, man. And it was a great year. I got to learn. I was around Tony, Ginobili, Tim, and I learned a lot. But mentally, I was already defeated. I did 5 years grind. So I was already, let's say, a senior, and then the big money offers came overseas. So, I took those. And it was an NBA lockout as well. I don't know if a lot of people don't know that. It was an NBA lockout season. So being a 19-year-old that hasn't played basketball for 18 months, I had to play.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, a lot, man. Yeah.
I feel like I say this on every episode, but this is why I'm doing the podcast, because there's so many beautiful, great, awesome stories out there with people that have lived it. And I think that's the most important thing of why I do the podcast, is to have different walks of life from all over the world that have lived it. And obviously we've exchanged a lot of funny stories over the years. I did not know about the shots in Chicago, which is just awesome. Love that. And you said, and I knew right away when you're like, I was pissed. I was like, well, I'm thinking you're pissed drunk, but you're also pissed. Yeah. So I immediately thought pissed drunk. Sure, you had to be.
Yeah, double. Yeah, I was.
But that's not word. That's not a word, as you know, in America. People don't say I'm pissed
for sure.
So that was beautiful. To me, and I want to go back into the pro stuff, but like the mentorship stuff. That's why I know you started doing what you're doing, because we had a lot of talks about it back in the day. Like, just imagine, and right, wrong, or indifferent, it's made you who you are today. So it's almost, how it is. Like, I'm not mad about what happened. It made me who I am. But if you had someone like me when you were 19, 18, that said, hey, Ryan, stick with it. Hey, let's make sure we're doing this. Hey, a lockout's coming. Let's keep working out. Let's stay right here. Let's do. Who knows what could have happened? In your story, there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of stories like this, that people just like, whatever happened to this guy in any sport it may be. And this is why, because you get bad representation. You get bad people in your life that don't care about you. They care about the dollar sign.
Mm-hmm.
And it ends up effing you. And if you don't get back on the right tracks, like, it can ruin your life. And I hope people are hearing that part of, like, this is, was the best player in the world at 6'11", 7 foot, all world player, and people screwed him over. And of course you're like, well, he made some dumb decisions too, but he's 18, 17 now. He's a kid. Like, so you can't hold that against him when it comes to grown adults that are using you in a lot of not good ways. It just goes to show you that it's so important to have the right people in your life. And it seems, I feel like I have these talks with you, Ryan, obviously, but I have them hourly, daily nowadays, with all the stuff I do with consulting, NIL help, and everything else too. It's never changing. It's just getting worse, which is, to me, just mind blowing, that someone could listen to this podcast, watch this video, hear us talking about this, and they're still going to go do dumb things and I'm going to trust this guy that I don't know, that has some crappy website or some weird whatever, and is going to promise me the world. Like, how is that still allowed? But it is.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think, even all those things you said, and I have to take accountability, right? I mean, I one of my biggest flaws is I don't care what people think about me, right? You could be making 9 million and I could be making 5. I'm happy. I'm very content. I chase contentment. I chase happiness. I grew up in a Jamaican household where if you're not anything but you're a loser, really. You got to be you. So I didn't fit into the basketball community. I wasn't a typical American basketball player. I wasn't a typical European basketball player. I was just me. You could have told me all of those stuff that you're going to do for me. You could have showed me 15 guys that you've helped get there. and I would have said, cut the shit. Like, what are you getting? I would have told you that straight in your face at 16. That put people off because I'm a direct person. That's how I work. I get offers all the time for this and this and this collaboration and da 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 da, and this kid, give me this kid. I just screenshot it and show the parent, and I say, hey, like if he goes there, I'm going to get that much, but I'm going to get it from them, not from his pocket or your pocket. You know, your house, your mortgage should be paid off. You should be taking care as the mother. You shouldn't be breaking your back to put this kid in this program and that program. Like, so I'm a little different, and I'm a difficult case. I'm not an easy person to get on with. You know, my missus tells me every day, so you know I know that. Um, but every kid's different. Like I am different. I grew up different. You know, you take a mixed race kid in a white area in the UK, you move him to Spain, you know, then you move him to Belgium, and then you move him to Germany, and then you move him to Switzerland, and then you know you see all these other players getting treated like rock stars, like OJ Mayo, Derrick Rose, Kevin. They were treated like rock stars. But when we went on the call, I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm just as good, and I'm 3 years younger. And then you've got all these people coming at you like, I'll give you this and give you that. I said, I didn't want that. I just wanted a mentor. I just wanted someone I could trust, but somebody that was real. I didn't need the bullshit. I didn't need, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. Blah, 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 blah. And what I love about working with these kids now the most is they keep it real. Yeah, Ron, you were drafted, but you didn't play in the league. I said, no, I didn't. I said, I could have. And ask players in the league that know, I could have. You know, I didn't make it because of the way I was raised. So with these big brands and these big programs, I tell kids, maybe you're not going to fit there. You know, if you're that talented, I use this theory all the time when I talk to a lot of young kids now. The only player that I really have ever had an issue with, like just couldn't do anything with him, is DeMarcus Cousins. That's a talent that, you know, whatever. But the guy was a dick and people didn't like him. And as soon as it went bad, they were ready to get him out of the league. But then you've got some players, you know, back to the point I was trying to make was you had Daniel Orton, probably the strongest player I've ever played against, like straight strength for strength. You was around the right people and you was a first round pick. Now his story is his story. I don't know his story. I don't know, you know, deeper than that. But some players need to be in big programs and in big factories because you can eat off that and you can have success. But some players, you can do it your own way because you are that good, but you still need a mentor. You still need somebody that you trust that can guide you. And maybe they haven't been there, maybe they don't know, but they know how to take care of your best interests and think 10, 15 years ahead. I only thought about the next month. I never thought about reason why I played for 30 clubs. And it's paid off. But yeah, man, I think, you know, the way you're doing it is right. And, you know, being around that summer and being around Isaiah and being around some of those guys, man, I realized, like, you know what? This is how I want to do it. You know, our ways are obviously different, but you know, you're thinking for these guys if it doesn't work out. And I remember you said that about Isaiah. You said he's doing well. You know, I don't know if he's going to get that next contract, but we're going to do all we can to get him there and put him in those situations. And I think he went to the Spurs for a season the year afterwards. And I was in Germany doing his thing, you know, and a lot of guys would have just, you know, given up on him, you know, or just kind of like, I'm not going to make anything off you, so see you later. So hats off to you there, geezer.
I it's nice that you say that about Isaiah Roby. I mean, just I think I sent 2 weeks ago, his lady friend asked me if I could send something for his birthday, like a video. And I was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, hey, love you. See you soon. See you this summer. Proud of you, all that. And, you know, like, as you know, that's the stuff that I'm in it for. I always say, just like Sam Greasel, you know,
Yes.
Sam, you know, Bryce McGowan's, all these guys. Like, I'm looking forward to being at your wedding someday and smoking a big cigar on the deck, watching,
Yep.
you know, watching grandkids or kids. Like, that's what I look forward to. Not, you know, hey, what's in it for me in the next 6 months? Because that's not real, and that's what, to me, that's not what life's about. And
For
and
sure.
I know, Ryan, you agree with this, but like, just I think it was 3 weeks ago, I had a conversation with a very, very, very good mid-major, low-major player that has 1 year left. I won't say his name just to save face here and not get in trouble. with a coach, but we sat down and talked, and it was, hey, what are you thinking? This, and he's met with a few agents about the next step, which is right. He should be taking the next step to a bigger college, and there's money to be made. But I was just like, man, listen, like, what's this 10-year plan look like? What's this 15-year plan look like? I know you can make X amount of money in 1 year, but I'm thinking about what position could you be put in good fit wise that can propel you to the next level. And I'm not saying NBA, but you can go overseas and get in the right system. Like, dude, you could be playing pro ball for 10 years. And then, like, let's get stuff set up this spring and summer for training, because you walk into a school in June when you have to report for the 2 months, whatever. Like, what are you doing between March and June? Yeah, Thomas, no one's talked to me like this. I'm like, I know. I've been around it now. I've been around this country. I've been around the world. I've been in enough meetings. I've been in enough things with all these pro people and college coaches. I was like, I know, because they don't care about all that. It's almost like they want you to fail. It's almost like they want you to fail. So I'm sitting there breaking this stuff down to them, and it's like, yeah, no one's had this kind of talk with me. It's just been numbers and, hey, we can get you to Duke. It's like, nope, that's not the conversation. So again, mentorship, the right people in your ear that actually give a dang about your life, not just the next few weeks and months.
100%. And I think I sit kids down and say, what do you want? Like, just tell me what you want. I want to retire my mum. Okay, you heard it in a rap song. Do you really want to do that, or did you just hear it? If you want to make money, I'm going to show you how to make money. There's a game within the game. If you just want to make quick money, make quick money. It's your life at the end of the day, what you want to do. But I guarantee you that quick money is going to go quick. So you should try to have a long career as possible. I did the quick money, but I played for, 20 years. So it added up. But I just think, there's that old mentality of like the right way, and there's this way. So everybody's different. Some guys just want to get paid, and some guys, so just be you, be real. If you're you and you're real, I tell these kids, don't bullshit me, man. Don't lie to me. Like, just tell me what you want to do, and I'm gonna help you get there if you're a good person. So I get to work with these kids over the holidays and over camps, and be around them, and it's beautiful just to see how um, when a kid trusts you and they kind of let their, that fake front, they always put on where it's like, yes, coach, yeah, okay, coach. And then you kind of see they start going through some issues and some ups and downs, and you see the real them. And I think that's when I want to work with them. Like I always say, when I hit a shot, man, I feel great. I don't need you cheering for me, man. Like I'm good. When I'm playing like shit, when I got 3, 4 turnovers, when I'm missing shots, that's when I need you to pick me up. And that's what my job is right there. And I think that more kids you got to think about, let's not say 10 years, because it's hard to think 10 years ahead. We're obviously older, we're more mature now, so we're always going to think 10, 15, 20 years ahead, think about our kids. But at least 2 or 3 years. Try to think 2, 3 years from now, not, quick money and quick cash. But at the same time as well, Thomas, I think that there's so many more snakes and leeches around now. They're just trying to make a quick buck. You're in a position where you're comfortable. I'm in a position where I'm comfortable. So us doing this is because it's a passion and we like to do it. There's some runners and agents that are like, I'm just trying to survive and feed my family and make a living. And I'm like, well, if you have to use people to do that, then you're already losing. So it's tough, man. It's tough.
Talk to me about Richard's Elite. Explain what you what you started in the UK. Your I guess humble beginnings of starting that, trying to learn in the process of starting it, and where you're at and where you want to go.
Yeah, before COVID, I launched Richard's Elite, and I was, I went all out. I was super excited. I was expecting like 300 kids, and 6 kids signed up. And I was like, fuck. It was kind of like, okay. COVID happened. I played another 2, 3 years. Ended up in a car crash in Omaha, actually, which really messed my back up and my hip. Try to come back, and I was, it was on and off, on and off. Got introduced to you, and you invited me down to the camp, to Isaiah Roby's camp, and obviously I had wanted to do camps before. but what I realized very quickly in the area was it was very territorial. A lot of people, have the little areas and their sections, and as any business is, right? It's not as simple as, hey, I'm a 20-year guy, I want to help people. There's always money behind it. So, kind of studied how you guys run it, um, and took that back to the UK and kind of adjusted a little bit. And the first thing I wanted to do was I made it inconvenient. I set it at a price that wasn't cheap, and I wanted people to be committed. So those are the things that I did. Um, Promoted it and took a different approach, and we got 100 kids. We got 100 kids in there because the parents had loved the um, the the quality compared to other, camps. I'm out there with these kids. I'm running with them. I'm sliding with them. Now I'm sweating with them. I'm getting up and down. My coaches laugh at me because I run harder in camp than I do in season. So there's that. Um, so that was year one. So after that, it got a lot of momentum. We had Adrian Isaac, who's ranked top 10 now on ESPN in the 2027 class. His mentor, Jimmy, who's phenomenal. Hit me up. We were teammates. I was like, hey, I got this big kid. He's 11 years old. He's 6'10". I think he's got a chance. I watched the video and was like, no, like he doesn't. I was like, I don't see it. No, I see it, man. I'm telling you. Worked his butt off, told them if you want to come to London, come to London. You're more than welcome to fly out here and work with me, whatever not. And he skyrocketed. I didn't recognize the kid. His work has been phenomenal. He's improved so much as a player. So we got kids in from France, from Spain, all the countries I played around the world. They all flew in. We had a great camp. Then we started entering in tournaments. These kids went out there and were beating major programs, huge programs. We nearly beat the England national team. We nearly beat Ludwigsburg, which is a BBL program. These kids have never played together. Straight, taking what they learn in the 3-4 days, playing for each other, knowing the game within the game. And every one of those kids got the business to where it is today, and I shout those boys out whenever I can. I show them love whenever I can. And we have really just taken off. And now we're all around the country. We are going to be in 5 locations: Plymouth, Birmingham, Manchester, Kent, and London. We will trickle it down to a main tournament and event. And from there, we will enter into an international tournament with teams flying in. A lot of the guys already have got a lot of interest from D1 schools, from prep schools, from teams in Europe, which they just didn't get before. So it's been pretty cool to use my platform to help elevate these kids and help them get real serious looks. And as we said, be a mentor for them. So, the youth side from age 7 to 20, we are rocking. We are doing really, really well.
So you have, when you say the teams, just for people in the US, you have those cities, coaches coaching a team, a few teams, different ages, and then or is it
No,
just one team?
it's a 2-day camp on different dates, and I'm out there for 12 hours straight, different age groups. Like it's Richard's Elite, it's my 20 years experience, into 4 hours. We work and then we play. And as we play, we trickle it down in the camp as a tournament. And then the winners from there will go to the next round. So, with the numbers that I've got, I've had countless people. Oh, you could turn it into this and that, and you could put coaches here, and you could. Then it's not Richard's Elite. It's not me. I got to be there with you and on the floor with you guys. So, we run it for Christmas. We do Christmas, we do Easter, and now we're going to be launching the league from May till August. So, um,
Do you get
and
do you
then
get blowback? Do you get blowback from people in different cities that have like their own clubs and like players are leaving to go play in your tournament, or has it been pretty cool?
yeah, no, I think there's definitely been a lot of hate, as there would be, but I think you know I've sacrificed a lot and I've done a lot, and I've got the years and stuff, and I think people see that and they respect it. I think, I am I've been around the business for 20 years. Like basketball and the business of basketball is all I know. I left school at 15 years old. So I have a very good business mind, so I know how to um use that. And I think that's what people are threatened by. That's what I hear. No one is against the work, the quality, the whatever. But where the UK works, I don't know if this is the same in America. Where the UK works is there's a lot of grants and funding. So you have to do things on a community level and you're giving back, and then you shit on any other program that puts a price or a premium. Okay. So what happened is you'll do this £5 to $6.86. The dollar is killing it right now. And then you're doing it for the community, right? And then what happen is there'll be these lumps of money throughout the year that everybody goes for. I didn't do that because I've got my 20 years and I want to give that experience. And some of these programs take kids to fly to America to go to random tournaments because they just want to go to America. Oh, America, America, America. So yeah, I think for me, the price that I set it at, you get shoes, you get gear, you get games, you get everything. And people our Google reviews are great. People think it's worth it. But I just went against the current and did it my way. But there's a lot of hate. There's definitely a lot of hate. There's people trying to implement it now and trying to copy it. But I do believe, man, you stay in your own lane. You don't worry about traffic. So
Love that. Love that. It's
yeah,
right in the U.S. It's one of those where, every state, every city's different, but a lot of the same. It's just one of those where it becomes a money grab for so many clubs, and that's where I think it's becoming even more difficult for families and people is that we're paying such a premium for a average to below average service, which in most walks of
yeah,
life, whatever, if it's a car service, you're doing investing, haircut, whatever it is, if you're paying a premium and you're getting below average or average service, like that's not going to last in any walk of life. Um,
sure.
but somehow, some way in youth sports in the United States, it seems to stay around. And but then that's where people like you, people like me, and there's others, but not a lot that fight that fight. I guess of like, should we do training with you and mentorship with you, or should we go play for this team that we haven't learned much at all, and we're playing in 13 tournaments and paying
Mm,
tens of thousands of dollars? It's like
yeah,
I know the answer, but I'll let you figure that out. And that's usually how it is. I'm not going to sit here and bash this club and this club and this club. Like if you figure it out, then I know you're going to train with me and you're going to do stuff because I think kids should play travel ball, but it should be purposeful. It should be planned out. It should be thought about, not
yeah,
just a bunch of other kids are doing it too. Let's do it, and then 5-7 years go by, and you're like, oh, we just wasted 7 years of our lives with sports and had no plan. Yeah, like,
yeah.
is that what you're gonna do with an investment in your portfolio and this? Well, no. Then why are you doing it with this? So
Yeah.
it's always a constant struggle in the US.
And I can see it. I got to work in Chicago this summer at Whitney Young. So the Jordan was bringing in coaches, so like Drew Hand and some other really cool guys, and they brought me in, which was amazing. I got to work with some of these kids, and I got to see it, and you know, there it's scholarships, right? You're right there. You're in the country. You're right there. There's so many stories of this guy made it, that guy made it, and as a businessman, I mean, it's there. I mean, I would love to make an AAU team and just go after the best kids and then just have 2, 3 kids playing for three and then charge 17 kids crazy money and say, oh, maybe you'll get a look and all the eyes are on him. And I get it. I really, really do. But, you know, and there's also every parent thinks their kid's the best. Right. My daughter now is she's the biggest baby in America. I stand on that. Okay. She is 3'8". Okay. And she's not even three. All right. Wingspan, I'm already looking at her calves and her quads and see, look at that definition. Look at those sprints. I believe she's already the best baby ever, right? So, and she's 2.5, bless her. So, I see these kids and I see these parents and they think it's unfair. Oh, it's unfair because he's getting all the love or he's getting the attention or he's this. Well, if the coach like defense and your kid's playing defense and the kid that plays defense is going to play. It's just that simple. It's not an equal sport. It's not an equal opportunity. It's you want to be trained as pros. You want to be on that level. And I would love to hear more from you about that because you're around it and you see it more. Um, but also, I'm, I saw a lot of content recently about playing up. You want to play up and you need to play up and you need to play up. I said, okay, well, for me, I did that and I needed double shoulder surgery playing with men because I was 15 years old playing with 290-pound guys, right? And I didn't get any experience of playing with kids my own age. I don't think playing with kids your own age is a bad thing if you've got quality with the training and the quality with the coach and you're learning how to play the right way. I think it's phenomenal because once you get thrown in the deep end, what's the difference between a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old? There's a huge difference. But 16 playing with under 18s or 15 playing with under 17s, because I don't know how you do it in America. It may be grades. But you're going to have to go to the door and play against men at some point. So I don't know how we play with men at 15. We're playing with men. So we're gauging that. I don't see a big difference between a 15-year-old playing with a 17-year-old playing with an 18-year-old.
Well, here in the U.S., and that's, I think, it's definitely not a thing anymore. You play if you're 15U, you play 15U. If you're 16U, you play 16U. But what doesn't happen anymore, Ryan, and I know I've had many talks about this with college coaches and pro coaches and families. Thomas, that was back in 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I still think it holds true. Like my training, Ryan, was yes, my father played big time basketball in the 1970s, and he surrounded me by college coaches and people, and he knew what to do. Awesome, thank you, Father. I thank him all the time for it. But what I was doing was skill development, shooting, post moves, learning how to do all this stuff. And it was very, very detailed and structured. And then when I would play with college players. When I was like an 8th grader, 9th grader, I'd play with college players, play pickup, but it's different pickup now, as you know.
Yeah.
Like then it was like we got after it, we played hard, we played for 2 or 3 hours. And like if you didn't, the usual, if you didn't win, you're off and you might be sitting for an hour.
Yeah.
But like you're learning, and like I was thrown in with older players, so they basically were cussing me out, body checking me, all that stuff. So I had to learn right away, like either I'm sticking with this and I like keep getting better, or this isn't for me. And now it's very hard to see that I do it. You remember I have players come in and we do things structured when it comes to workouts.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't do any BS. We'll do skill work, development, mentorship, and then we'll play. But when we play, I coach, and I'm like, guys, no funny business. We're not doing 18 dribbles and sham guys and fadeaway corner threes and doing like let's get better. That doesn't happen hardly anymore. It's I'm on the 16U whatever travel team. We're going to play in 79 games this summer. Not going to get much development, and we're just going to play games and not know how to play basketball. So like it's like that's not really it, So it's a weird, but again, it's about money with a lot of things. So like, well, if we don't go play in this tournament and with this team, I'm going to get looked over. And that's where things now, Ryan, here are changing so much, and families just don't get it. Like you're not getting recruited. Like I have current seniors that I'm trying to help get scholarships, and they're like, yeah, like Thomas, we're going to have to wait till the spring once the season's over, maybe into the summer once we get done with the portal to see what these numbers look like. So if they're cool with waiting till, most kids are already knowing they're going, they got their dorm to be a student at the university.
Yeah.
You got people that are like, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do in the next month of my life. I might have to be a regular student. Like, so things have completely changed for high school kids in this country. Now, if you're a top 50 player, it's different. If you're a top 100 player, it's different. But we know the percentages of that. So it's just a whole new world, and people need to adapt, and it's not really happening because why? If you really were going to adapt, there's going to be lesser teams because there doesn't need to be 7 teams, 17U for a club because why? Like all those kids aren't getting scholarships. They're not getting looks. There's no college coaches coming down watching big tournaments unless it's a really, really big tournament. So things have changed. Development wise has changed. And like I said, playing games, It's not like we used to play. It's just not like you go watch a kid play. And you're like, man, he doesn't know how to play basketball. It's like, well, yeah, because he's not
Yeah.
being coached. He's not been developed, and going 1-on-4 and dribbling the air out of the ball. It ain't it.
No. Yeah. And I think, but how does it change? I feel like it's too big. It's too big. It's the it's rolled down the hill. It's so big. There's so much money now. I've got guys that there's guys that have never played basketball. They have a team and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I feel like how does it change?
I don't think it does. I just think you have to actually search, and it's never been easier
Mm.
to search if you know where to
Yeah.
look to find people like us. And again, I used to say like, I think, I know now, I know, like
Mm-mm.
find people like us that have lived it, that have trained these players, that have the resumes for years, 10, 20, 30 years that have done. Those are the people you need to find because they're going to speak the truth to you. They're going to guide you. They're going to be honest with you. All those things, and that's what you need to make it long lasting and make sure you're like. There's people I know signing accounts for players in college and in high school, like co-signing bank accounts with players not even knowing. Talking about snakes and bad people, like that's
Yeah.
insane to me. Like, how are you letting a person that you don't really know, if they're co-signing bank account, like, hey, sign here, and then like, okay, this is for something, and then you're going to a bank and getting on their bank account? Like, that's the kind of stuff
Yeah.
going on, and people are just getting screwed over. It's crazy, man.
And it's people, it's targeting. My mom's a single mom from one of the worst parts of Kent. These guys coming in wearing suits, they know what they're doing. It's manipulating the market. It's the same as you manipulate a sale, right? You manipulate business. You do the same thing. And I think that's why for me, when I have one kid now, he was at my community club. I have a club as well called Kent Panthers, and it's for the community. It's a monthly fee, and we play in the league and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And one of the kids is he was at development, so he trained like once a week, and then he's gone from training once a week to now being the starter on our top team, right? And his mum's got I think six kids, and my mum's got the same, and he's getting so much attention now within the UK because the UK game is all about academies. If you have an academy, you get money from the government, and then the government give you like X amount, and then the program gets X amount, right? And now you just see these people tell them anything they want to hear, and they say certain things, and you're like, "Fuck, that's clever, that's smart. It's messed up what you're saying, but it's clever what you're doing." And I think in America, I mean, I will never forget coming there in 2010, and I would buy my trainer breakfast. I would buy my trainer a coffee. I would pay for the dinner. Will McCandle, who was my agent, shout out Will, phenomenal. We made a lot of money together. I remember I bought him a steak dinner when he traveled from Atlanta to Vienna and drove to Hungary to come meet me, right? And I'm like, that's the least I can do. And he's like, I've never had any player buy me a meal. And the way these players were treated, these high school players, it was like rock stars. We were walking into Louis Vuitton, they were walking out with 2, 3 pieces of different things. And some of those players never even made it. And then, as soon as they didn't, they got dropped. And the way they talk to coaches and the way they speak to the people rebounding for them, I'm like, this is insane. Like, and it's another world to me. If I had a son, I have a daughter, but I don't know what she's going to do. You know what I wanted to do, but we'll see. But if I had a son, I couldn't get him any further away from the American system. Like, there's no way. You learn respect. If someone's older than you, you wait your turn. It's even as small as shooting free throws. The oldest shoots the free throw first. The oldest gets the water first. You wait. It's that, the look in the eye, the shaking the hand. I work with some of these kids, and I'm like, unless you're a superstar, when you get to the league, you're going to be out the league in 6 months. You're going to be out the league in a year, and it's fueled by people that are leeches, and they are just boosting these kids up and saying anything they want to hear, but they're not treating them how to get along in the real life. And if it doesn't work out in basketball, you got to enter the real world. You're screwed. It's
100%.
scary, man. It's a scary
I
place.
I'll say this, and we can move on to one or two more things, and we'll get out of here. But
Yeah.
I kids always laugh when they first kind of are around me, but like I do trivia questions for running to like kind of get out of running. I'll ask them trivia questions. It could be politics, it could be geography, it could be and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "We're always learning. It's not just basketball; it's life." When we sit down, I'll always sit people down. We talk, and people are just usually blown away. Like, what? Like, yeah, I want to know who you are. I want to know your purpose. I'm a huge
Yeah.
purpose guy. And but again, that gets back to people will just see a dollar sign and it's a quick fix and it's a quick this. They don't care really. They don't care about you. They don't care your story. They just want to know how can I make the most out of this or what position can this put me in with
Yeah.
another job or another agency or another coaching job. Not saying everybody, but a lot of them do. So it's actually giving a damn, and people can say, oh, you're just using your resume and your life and your story to do this. Hell yeah, I am. I'm trying to help these
Oh,
people.
I'm glad you.
I'm
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's all true. I hope that's not bad that I'm trying to help people through all of our troubles, trials and tribulations and great times too. Because that's who I learned from. Those are my mentors, people that have went through stuff that were broke, that came out on top and went through the grind. Those are the people that are my mentors in life.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing you're doing. I'm very, very excited to see where all this continues to go for you with Richards Elite. And um, what could you tell me or tell the audience what would be the craziest place that you played? I mean, you've played like in some wild cities. Like, do you have a story or two about a city or country or two that would just maybe be like, wait, what? Not that's not going to get
Yeah.
you in trouble or arrested.
Yeah, I got stories for days, man. I think the greatest place I've played is Iran. I played in Iran for 3 years, and it's nothing like the news portrays. Like
When is
I
what years were these for people to know?
this was the year, well, the story's coming, where I got ran up on by, 8 Persians, because of Trump had killed, their leader, and they thought I was American. And I started speaking like, hey, I'm not American, I'm British, like, so this was 2017, 2017, and 2018, and a little bit in 2020. Yeah.
So
So,
continue. So you were
well,
first off,
I'm out
tell
there.
us
Yeah.
conditions like. What were the conditions like? You were there, you were treated well. Like, tell us a little bit about that. And then the
Yeah, so you're treated like a god. I mean, it was phenomenal. I remember the first day I got there, and this is my, lack of, schooling. I should have needed some trivia questions, would have helped me a lot. I remember I was there the first day in practice, and one of my teammates, who's a very close friend of mine now, I'm like, hey man, how do you say pass the ball in Arabic? And the dude straight cracked me in the face. He's like, oh, it's fucking Farsi. We speak Farsi, we don't speak Arabic. I'm like, okay, my bad. So, we had a fight in our first 10 minutes of practice, which was great. So I learned very quick, and now I'm actually fluent in Farsi. So, salam khubi, chekaba. I speak it very well. And we was like, I want to put it in NBA. We were like the Detroit Pistons. We were the Detroit Pistons. And we went to the finals, and we were up 3-0 against the Celtics, and we ended up losing 4-3. But that's what really got me a name. We went up against the legend Hamid Haddadi, played with the Grizzlies for a little while, played with the Phoenix Suns. And then after that, I stayed there for about 2.5 years and absolutely loved it. Loved the food, loved the culture. But towards the end, when the sanctions came into place, I think Trump first got elected. The sanctions had taken over, so the dollar had cut. So guys were making 50,000, 60,000 a month, and it went down to like six. That's how harsh it was. So um, I got out just after that. But my last stint there, he had bombed the leader. I don't know the name of the leader, unfortunately, and that was the only time I was like scared for my life. Like I've been in clubs in America very late, and I've feared for my life as well. You guys love guns, but this was like real. I was like, they were. I had to bring out the British accent very strong, and They had looked me up. They looked me up just to confirm that I was where I was from and what I said. But it was a great. I mean, that was the craziest story, I would say, in my opinion. There's so many
What about
stories.
beautiful? What about like a beautiful, like undiscovered, crazy, beautiful city area that you like? Man, I want to go back there, or I have been back, or like, hey, you need to go there and visit, whatever, whatever.
Honestly, Iran. I think Iran's something you need to visit. If you can, you need to visit it. I think it's a beautiful country. Sorry, it's a beautiful country. Um, some other places I would say is maybe it's tough, man. What are you looking for? Tell me what you're looking for, and then I can help you. What
I mean, I know
you
you
want a holiday? What are you looking for?
you've been Japan, you've been all those places. Like, I mean, I know Japan's beautiful. Um,
Yeah,
any island stuff that you've been to, even in your travels?
yeah. I would say the Canary Islands. I would say the Philippines is beautiful. Japan's amazing. I mean, the countryside of Japan. I'm not a big fan of Osaka and Tokyo, the major cities. I'm not a big fan of tourists. I'm a Kent boy myself, so I'm from the suburbs of England. I stay out of London. Vienna is beautiful. Austria is another great country. Um, oh, good, I was in Syria. I was in Iraq. I was in Kuwait. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to. Estonia was one that I was pretty miserable. Actually, I'm not going to lie. If there was a country I would avoid, it would be Estonia. I did not like my time there at all. And France, I'm not a fan of France, man. I'm not the biggest fan of France. I'm an hour 30 minutes from Paris because I'm on the southeast. Never been to Paris. Never been.
I tell people all
France.
the time, I was in France, what, 3.5 years? Paris, it was okay. Because you're like, Thomas, like, that's my dream vacation. I'm like, you shouldn't have another dream because first, there's too much to see.
Yeah,
It was dirty a lot of time. It was kind of just not really my move. And I
hundred
would not,
percent.
yeah.
And Greece. I played in Greece. I was in Halkida. I went to all the islands in Greece. They were beautiful. But I'll give you this credit to Nebraska. Shout out Nebraska. The most beautiful sunsets I've seen in my life are that drive from Omaha to Lincoln at about 6:15. They beat Greece. So if you're from up Nebraska and you're thinking of flying to Greece for sunsets, you need to stay and do that drive, okay, from Omaha to Lincoln. Unreal.
Hey, this dude, this Mr. Ryan Richards has lived all over the world, literally has lived all over the world. And he just gave a shout out to the sunsets. And I would agree. The sunsets in Nebraska are epic.
So I'm a huge fan of Nebraska. I love it. I wanted to move to Omaha. My missus was like, hell no, because she's from there. But then a year later, I see it's the up and coming city of America. So I send links to her every day. See, like, told you so. So no, man, big fan of Nebraska.
Let's finish with this. We'll do a little TBT talk and then a
For sure.
little Q&A of soccer and English breakfast. TBT, give it to us real quick what the mission is, what the thought is coming up this summer 2025 for all things TBT.
So, Richard's Elite is coming. As they say, the British are coming, and we're coming to win the million. I mean, I won it in 2016 when it was 2 million. I've played on different teams. So I've played with Overseas Elite that won it 4 times. I've played with an alumni team, and I completely get the business side of an alumni team. It makes a lot of sense with VCU. And I've also played with Red Rose Thunder, which was a first year team last year, and we managed to pull off a couple of wins. Now, I really sat back and looked, and um, it's a gamble. It's definitely because you have to invest a fair bit of money to have a TBT team because you have to take care of the players and if you want the type of players that you want, right? But stepping back and looking at me being a part of TBT for the last 8 years, um, I believe to have success in it, you need guys that one are here for a job. This is a job, this is not to brand yourself. This is not to, get statistics or get a job overseas. You want players that are at a certain age and know how to play basketball correctly. And with the players that I've put together so far, and it's still been very early, I am very confident that the first international team to compete in TBT with Richards Elite, we're going to have some real success. And again, like I said, my experiences were great with everyone I've played with, but I think we bring something a little bit different. We're coming over there to handle business. We have no home court advantage. We're not an alumni team. We have no fans. We have no egos. If I shoot 38% from the 45 and you're in the corner and you shoot 44, we're swinging that thing. And, we're playing to come in and we're coming in to handle business and win. America's great. And the dollar is killing it right now. So it's going to be pretty cool to win some dollars.
Favorite football club?
Honestly, man, Gillingham Football Club. You won't even know them. There's no Premier League teams where I live. I would say Man United. Man United, which is like somebody being from Lincoln and supporting the Orlando Magic. It makes no sense. But I would say Man U.
Are you a David Beckham fan?
Yes, yeah, I was. I was big time. I even tried to do my hair like David Beckham, which is not possible. And I wore the Predators. I was a big fan of the Adidas David Beckham Predators.
Have you seen his Netflix doc that came out a year or two ago?
I did. I loved it. I loved how he put his missus in check and told her, "Hey, what was your dad driving to school?" So yeah, he's real. He's a geezer, man. He keeps it real.
I thought he was phenomenal. I thought it was phenomenal. English breakfast. Are you a fan of the English breakfast? And if you are, what is on your plate for an English breakfast?
Huge fan. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. I've put America down and I've hyped up England a lot today. Our food is terrible. It's really bad. But our English breakfast is, there's no comparison. You've got to go with real bacon. Not strip bacon, real bacon. Give me 3 of those. I need Cumberland sausages. I'll have 3 of those as well. Hash browns, but not the chopped up hash browns, the real hash browns. I'll take scrambled eggs. I'll put a little bit of feta in there, which isn't very British, but hey, we're mixing now. We're a melting pot. So give me a bit of Greek feta in the scrambled eggs. Yes, I've got to have baked beans all over. I like to have my baked beans. Put 2 eggs in there, some chili flakes, whisk it up. Give me white bread. Like I'm already over my calorie count, so just give me white bread, and we call it a day, man.
We'll leave it with this. If
Yep.
when you have another child, but let's say you have a son right now, what would you do? What would you tell Americans and the British? What would you do? What would be the Ryan Richards game plan for your son? Let's say he's a 5th grader, 6th grader, and he's growing up. And I know, let's take out that, well, of course, like he's probably going to be really tall and has a chance to be really good because his dad's this. What would you say to the family that has a good player that could be really good or could be talented, but they don't know how to work and they don't know what to do? They have no idea what path to take. What would you recommend to them?
If it was my son, honestly, Thomas, I'd put him with you because I would be too hard on him. I wouldn't be able to coach my son or raise my son if he's anything like me, which I assume so. But if there was a kid that was that talented, I would do your research and reach out to people. And the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to probably stay away from all circuits and all travel tournaments and events and just straight work. And I would probably test them against pros. And obviously I'm going to brief the pros like, hey man, my boys, would that be 12 or 13? I would guess is the age you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm saying, listen, sit on his right hand. I assume he's a lefty like me. I would put a lot of pressure on him to defend. I would put a lot of pressure on him to kind of put him in uncomfortable positions. and also find some guys that can kind of, pick them up a little bit, you know what I mean? Stay on and hold them accountable. That's the main thing. But fundamental, breakdown, skill workout, fundamentals, learning the game, reading the game, and have him be able to communicate, have him to be able to communicate and express his feelings and open up, but also communicate with his coach, with his teammates. Ask the coach what he wants from you. Every team you go to, every situation is different. Yes, you're you. Yes, you do what you do. But if you can fit in, if you're versatile, you can play a very long time. If you can fit in, you can play a very long time. If you're likable, even better. At the end of the day. But I would probably keep him away from any kind of exposure events, let's say, until I really felt he was ready, and he was a solid person, a solid teammate, and ready to accept that fame, right? That attention, all of that. Because I think kids get that and their head goes. And that worries me because it's hard to reel kids back in. Once they get that, it's hard for them to feel like this is today. There's going to be another player next week. There's going to be another player next year. So there's some things that I would personally do, man.
Weight room. I'm a big believer of getting these kids. I'd rather you be in the weight room learning how to lift and get stronger instead of playing in 100 games this summer.
Yeah.
Learn your body, get stronger.
And I think that's where you guys, as athletes, you are just better. There's just no question about it. I mean, I always say it, your legs, American players, they just got legs, man. Like you guys are just athletes. You can get off the floor. It's very rare you find a UK talent that can. We don't lift. Lifting isn't, really a culture and a thing here, but I agree. I think that's a big thing. 12, 13. Yeah, I think you need to know. I would probably hit it pretty heavy at 15. I would say 15, we ramp it up. Now we're really gonna kind of you can say, but I think a lot of kids grow, they don't really tend to grow late. But they hit that growth spurt of like 14, 15, 16 when they kind of shoot up. But yeah, nutrition. Nutrition's a big thing that I'm recently taking serious. I'm 2 years sober now. I don't drink anymore. Changed my diet hugely. I'm down to already 245 now, and previous I was at 300. So that's a big thing. I would say nutrition also.
Well, Mr. Richards Elite, Ryan Richards, it was a pleasure having you on, man. I'm just excited, like I said, to see your growth, and I know I'm going to be over there sooner than later to see you and hopefully run some camps and check out players and all those kind of things over in the UK and around Europe. So can't thank you enough, man. I'm proud of you of all the steps you've been taking and what a hell of a career you've had.
Amazing. I appreciate it, brother. No, please, like I said, you guys are welcome anytime. And we will get something set up. And no, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. And bring the sunset with you when you come, please. Because that's another thing. Our weather is shit. I'm not going to lie to you, man. It's not good.
Mr. Ryan Richards, appreciate you, sir. All the best.
For sure. Take care, man.
See ya.